Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Autumn 2013 S.W.A.T review. My name is Alan, otherwise known as Hisui.
And I'm Kate, otherwise known as Narataki.
And we are from ReverseThieves.com, and you can go there and get a bunch of blog posts every week, as well as the Speakeasy podcast, which is monthly, and other S.W.A.T reviews and case closed reviews.
This time we're looking at the first episode of Yowamushi Pedal, also known as Yowa-Peta, but I'm really refusing to call it that for obvious reasons as I've just spoken it. And it's from TMS Entertainment and streaming on Crunchyroll. It's a sports series about cycling, bikes, and the bike club in high school. It's interesting because if you've read the description of the show, it seems like there's this Onada, he's an otaku, and he starts riding his bike because he wants to be able to go to Akihabara for free so he can save money and spend it there, and he's an otaku. So you'd think that he's the main character, but actually after the first episode, I'm not totally clear on who the main character is. I feel like it's him, but at the same time, it feels very much like a ensemble show from just the way they're introducing characters.
Because there's him, who we spend a lot of time with. So it's not like he makes a token appearance and then disappears. But then Imaizumi, who is more traditionally the main character type, older main character type, and he's the black-haired guy.
Serious.
And he has a rival that he has to beat, and, he's constantly training. And then there was this redheaded kid in the intro who we haven't met in the show, but he looks really prominent, and he looks like shonen main character dude.
Yeah, so, I mean, if it's kind of a shared spotlight, I think that would be great.
When I first saw him, he looks like the kid who is the best friend to the main character, who's never super important, but is always kind of there as a support character more than a main character.
But in this case, he is the type of character who kind of doesn't know he has a talent, and it's gonna be a surprise to him, because in the first episode, he's riding uphill on this incline, and I feel like as a viewer, I didn't really get that was like a big incline. It didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. Like, okay, you're riding up a hill, like, oh, whatever. But in a way, Imaizumi is also there to tell us how fierce that is. Like it's like he's super dedicated to cycling, and then there's just this like scrawny kid who's riding up this hill, and he's like, wait, he shouldn't be able to do this because this is a really big hill. And
he doesn't have like one of those cool bikes with lots of gears. He basically has, Mamachari, one of those, basically grandma bikes.
Exactly. So, Onada is kind of reminding me of Takumi from Initial D. I mean, he's definitely not as, Takumi is really, really talented from the very beginning that we see him in Initial D, but he doesn't know a lot about racing, he doesn't know a lot about cars, and he really steps up his game as the series goes on. So I can see that kind of maybe happening here. Onada is not like a badass bicyclist already, but it has sort of the same, I don't know anything about bikes and I don't really know anything about racing. So in a way, the audience learns at the same time he does.
He spent all his points in anime knowledge, not in bike knowledge.
It's not like he wants to be a cyclist or anything yet, but so I can tell that I have a feeling that Miki, who is now the manager of the bicycling club, she is going to be integral because she's going to be really desperately trying to get him to join the club because he can't join the anime club because it doesn't exist.
She kind of reminds me of the main girl from Kuroko's Basketball, how she just seems to size people up and go and have details about them all the time, and because she just oh yeah, so I saw you biking, thereby I hunted down your homeroom teacher and got all this information about you.
Just to find you again and then ask you, if you really biked all the way to Akihabara, which is 45 kilometers. They bring that up a whole bunch. So everyone's like, that's ridiculous. There's no way he could do that. So I feel like as the viewer, I haven't seen him do anything that's very impressive, but it's clearly impressing people within the show. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm on board, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know anything about cycling, and you don't really need to, which is the point. But right now, it's only peripheral characters that are kind of making me interested in him.
You know what it is, Kate?
So...
It's like when you're watching the Mahjong anime, and the guy throws down his tiles, and the commentary characters who always exist in all Mahjong anime are like, oh my god, that hand is super hard to get!
And blah, 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 blah.
What a crazy weight that was! And you're like, oh, yes, that does, not the way that commentator makes it seem, that does seem very impressive now.
That's actually totally relevant to this also because Imaizumi, I kept looking at him going, is that Akagi's child? Like, he kind of has an Akagi-like look to him, and he's very serious all the time about everything.
You keep expecting him to turn over his bike and go, Ron!
Yeah, and I'm betting $10 that his rival is Miki's brother, who gets brought up in the series, and he used to be the president of the cycling club in the high school, but now he's like in college or even graduated from college somewhere.
And everybody talks about him like he is a god.
Exactly. So I'm betting he's Imaizumi's rival.
But speaking of the bicycling club, they all look super evil.
But in a totally awesome way.
They all look like the members who should be part of the delinquent baseball club in the theoretical Ace of the Diamond that we wanted.
Yeah, they do. They have these really strong personalities and these really strong looks to them. You should see this one guy's hair, guys. It was amazing.
The green-haired guy?
Yeah, that one. It was nuts. And then there's that one guy with the shades. I really liked the whole look of each character has so much personality put into just how they look and stand and talk.
It does have this weird older show vibe to the character designs. Like, I can't definitively say the character designs come from this decade or something, but they do look older, is the only way I can put it.
Yes, I agree. I couldn't put my finger on it, though. Maybe it's just because in a way, they're very simple. But that's also one of the things I liked about it. I felt as though it looks old, but then at the same time, it doesn't. It has like a modern feel to it at the same time. I don't know, it's a weird combination, which I enjoyed. I kind of liked everything about the show. I think that the first half of the episode is a little slow, but then once it gets going, almost like going over a hill, it gets better. And also, just for the ladies out there, Imaizumi has not one, but 2 shower scenes in this first episode. I was like, what's going on?
I mean, and there is like no girl fan service.
No, not at all.
There's basically...
I mean, Miki and her friend are cute, but like...
Miki exists, and her friend is basically like, "Puh, I spit on Utaku."
Yeah. So I guess that's not really attractive. But Miki's really cute and adorable. Yeah, it was just a random... I mean, it wasn't like super gratuitous or anything crazy, but it was just worth noting. I liked this better than our other new sports show of the season. I thought this had a lot more personality.
Kim would never dare put this above Kuroko's basketball.
No, let's not jump the gun there. Actually, let's never do that because it'll never happen. But I did really enjoy this. I definitely want to watch more of it. As I said, I feel like it had a lot of personality to it, which I think is important.
Yeah, all right. We'll keep on watching. I'm just curious, who is the main character, if nothing else? Or is there a main character?
I'm perfectly happy if there isn't. It's just that the descriptions of the show made it seem like it's kind of the otaku guy. And that makes sense in a way because seems like he's going to be the only really new to cycling, learning a lot about it and becoming good at it. So, I mean, that, if nothing else, that obviously makes him the main character.
All right, but see you guys next time.
分自身すら見失った踏み外したの